Okay, great. So I'm very glad that you're here. And so what you're gonna play for us today?
Okay, so I think that I'm gonna play the Dvořák Romance.
Okay,
I
F
have,
minor.
yeah, F minor. I have the whole thing, but I
Okay.
know that we only have a limited amount of time, so I could just play like the first two pages, or I mean, you can stop me whenever you want, or I
Sure.
can play the whole
Maybe
thing.
let's do maybe until the kind of the recap, where it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then maybe you can play a little bit. We can work on a little bit of the end as well if you'd like.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Looking forward.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so shall we work on a little bit? Well, it's
Yeah, yeah, that sounds
really beautiful, Maya. Um, uh, I mean, before we work on this, I would like to ask you, uh, do you know a little bit of the language Czech? Uh,
actually no.
no, yeah, I mean, normally people wouldn't, but
Right.
that's maybe something I would suggest. I happen to know a bunch of friends who speaks a Czech language, and I think it's so important to kind of understand, have a perspective what it sounded like. You don't necessarily need to speak them, of course. It's just like when I try to learn, say, a piece by Schubert, I always learn his leader. And sometimes, for example, the C major fantasy for violin and piano, that's based on one of his leaders. So I try to
Oh,
understand like what he's trying to say, and also actually to know how the lyrics go, so that I know exactly what he means. And I actually try to study German just because of that, and try to actually know how exactly it sounds, because every single note is like words as well, and
yeah,
it's in composer's blood. And I think particularly for Dvořák and Smetana, I think they compose in such a specific language. I think it's very important to know. So I highly recommend you maybe listen to a speech, just to get a sense, because you will notice, compared to French, for example, Czech actually sounded less smooth, I would say, a little more edgy, but has such a strong accents and
yeah.
also a core in the sound. I think it's a beautiful language. I personally love it so much. And my favorite author, Milan Kundera, was Czech as well. I read all of his books. So I think that's something I would suggest first, because I think in your playing, you have such a beautiful sound. But sometimes, to my taste, it almost felt too smooth and too beautiful, too sweet.
Mhm.
Because in a way, Czech, the whole nation, they've been through so much, the wars and up and downs. So even in the most beautiful melody, I would say a sweet melody is a bittersweet. And
Yeah,
I think you should still have some sort of a core underneath your sound. And even in those beautiful pastoral melody in the beginning, I think I actually hear a little bit of sorrow and melancholy in it. So I think the sound does not always flow so easily. Well, that's my first suggestion.
okay.
And obviously, this is not originally for violin. It was a slow movement of a string quartet, which I highly recommend you take a listen. It was
Yeah.
composed a slightly before, and I think it's slightly different, but you can already see the major and minor. He constantly try to shift between the major and minor, and then this. I think it comes much earlier in the piece. Okay,
Mhm.
now let's maybe work on a little bit violinistically.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to talk about the realistically. I think it's important to know why you are playing this, because I hope when you start playing this piece, you are hoping for playing this with an orchestra very
Mhm.
soon, right? And just like preparing for a concerto, you never really think about, oh, I'm just gonna play by myself or with a pianist for my graduation recital and that's it. Of
Right.
course everybody wants to play with an orchestra. So
Right.
there are certain things you need to pay attention. First thing I would like to suggest is the little notes.
Okay.
Those little notes need to speak, just like the language. I talk about the Czech language. The little accents needs to have a little more spoken quality rather than singing, because you're already singing so beautifully. It'll be nice to add some spoken quality to it.
Mhm.
And for example, in the beginning, I don't mind you using a different bowing than the original, but it's nice to know why Dvořák writes a slur with dashes.
Yeah.
Those are speaking quality to me. And also that's an indication of phrasing.
Yeah.
He wants do, instead of one, two, right? It's one. And so I'm looking at the so this little note, it's like touching your soul, right? So I think you're playing so beautifully. It's almost too legato for me, but a little Debussy-like to me, maybe. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sort of do a bad imitation, but I'm hoping to hear a little more sort of speaking, right? Even the beginning, and then second one, make sure that's almost like a boat. There's a swing rather than stop. stop, right? So let the phrase decide what kind of bowing you use instead of let the bowing decide what kind of phrase you're choosing.
Right.
Okay, shall we
Okay.
start one more time and try? Very nice, Maya. I really love it. I think it's definitely gotten better, and I think you maybe I can suggest one more thing, which is within the little phrase, we have to see the longer phrase. Obviously, this is maybe we say that as a 4-bar phrase. Where is the climax and where is the beginning of the phrase and where is the end of the phrase? That's very important. And to me, you kind of stopped in the middle a little bit. For example,
Oh,
you
yeah.
start at. So I actually hear 4 different accents everywhere, but maybe let the phrase continue by itself. Oh, never stop. Goes all the way. So I see this beautiful arch rather than 4 bars of beautiful fragments. Okay,
Gotcha.
maybe one last time. Sorry, being so
Oh, no.
fussy, but I think you
No, no,
already
no,
played so
no.
beautifully. Yeah, yeah. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And now, as you go on, I would like to add one more thing, which is throughout the piece,
Yeah.
the dotted rhythm figure, ya, da, da. This is very interesting because I I think it's very important to keep the singing quality, but at the same time, would like to hear a little more release after the dotted rhythm,
Okay.
especially ya, da, da. So the music, the sound should release a little bit more so that your violin is ringing by itself. So rather than you actually don't press the sound so much, so right, there's always a release. But at the same time, what I fear is that you completely release the sound without let the phrase go.
Yeah.
And then so again,
Yeah.
so let the phrase carry on, right? So that's something I would like to add. So pay attention to the release of the
Okay.
ya, da, da, yeah, and enjoy the little notes ya, da, da, which you already did so well last time. Okay, maybe let's continue with the
Okay.
second phrase.
I'm just...
Beautiful, Maya. Okay, so I'm trying to be as detailed as possible, if that's
Yeah,
okay,
great.
because I
No,
think that's
please.
going to be
Yeah.
most helpful because I can go through the entire piece, give you some general ideas, but maybe you don't really get much. So forgive me,
No, it's
because I
great.
think you are already so great. I wanted to maybe add one more thing, which is harmonically. You see here, I already feel like you felt something, but I wanted to make sure that even in front of a screen, you have to imagine you're playing in Carnegie Hall. I
Yeah.
believe it was 800 seats. So even the person sit in the very back side of the row of the hall that can actually hear your intention, not only your sound, but also your intention, which means all the harmonic changes, all the color changes, you have to do it a little more exaggeratedly. So I think here is a good example. You have I believe it's a flat 6, so double flats, right? So that's very, very unusual. So it's like a painful moment, slightly, and then there's a release. And what I noticed is, by the way, you're using Henley edition, do you?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, and I think there is a diminuendo written or a swell, a diminuendo written right there in the beginning of the bar. But it's a common habit that whenever we see diminuendo, we think about soft. I think the opposite, because whenever I see diminuendo, I think about loud. which means not yet so soft. Okay,
yeah.
because when you see the double flat, oh, it's already, soft. No, not really. I think it started to get soft, but not quite yet soft. And also, it's not the end of the phrase. Even the last 3A, even softer. That's the end. So then, you play on the fingerboard right there, but not. For me, it's actually a lot of tension going on right
Okay.
there. I would keep the chord and maybe a slower bow,
Hmm.
a little bit concentrated sound to really make sure that flat six came out, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we try this phrase again and then we move on? Okay, thank you, Maya. It was really beautiful. Maybe I can share a short story with you that I once played with Mr. Isaac Perlman, and I think I played a 16th note passage, and then I forgot to vibrate the first note, and then he's like, Angelo, what did the first note do to you? Did he owe you $200 so that you never vibrate on it? So it was kind of you know intimidating, but I actually remember the story so well, and I also completely get what he means. Sometimes we forgot the most important thing just because of convenience. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
for me that is very important because you are starting a turn. Yeah,
Mhm.
such a small thing, I understand, but it does make a difference when you
Yeah,
do
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna maybe go on for a little bit and then you play this. Thank you for vibrating that. That's also very important. A lot of people, just because it's pinky, they didn't vibrate, but you did it so beautifully. But maybe you can treat the same thing in the bottom. Okay,
Yeah.
now these two phrases, I would like to hear maybe two different color of this one. Maybe the first one a little more outgoing, and this is more like an echo. And then the turn starts. Right now, it sounds like two of them are both very important to me. Maybe you can try to make some color change right there so
Okay.
that we
Yeah.
can hear some difference. Maybe maybe
Sure.
there. Mm. Yeah, Maya, it was so beautiful. Except I feel like the poco stringendo, I
Uh-huh.
didn't quite hear it. Yeah,
Okay.
of course, I agree. It should somehow there should somehow be a retard before the in tempo. It'll be a little silly if you just speed up and then suddenly do a slower tempo. I understand, and
Yeah.
you did the retard beautifully, which is not there. But I agree. I just thought it could be a little more stringendo because here. I don't think there is anything in the orchestra, right? So you're more like a cadenza or
Yeah.
a recitative rather. So maybe be a little free. Imagine this is almost like a rhapsodic moment for me. And then the little notes almost like the falling leaf. It's like
Mhm.
very natural. So don't try to follow the beats, because you're already so great. You don't have to, you have a very steady pulse inside, but then play around the rhythm a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe just from where maybe
Okay.
I would like to point out one thing harmonically. Do you happen to know what's going on in the orchestra part right here? Do you happen to know?
Um,
It's okay. It's
I
okay.
don't. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, somebody is playing, but I don't know if I can share screen with you. Let me try if I can share the screen. Do you see my screen right now?
Mhm.
Okay, so here is the score. Okay, do you see the highlights?
Mhm.
Yeah. So now you have 3E, right?
Uh-huh.
They look the same, but then underneath something is going on. I know this is only the piano part, but then a very important harmony is going on there. So that third note, right? That intensity of the tritone is very, very significant to me,
Yeah.
because and then I almost have to feel that you know what's going on, and in that 3E I wanted to hear three different colors and the change
Mhm.
of intensity of both speed, vibrato, contact points, and pressure. Okay, all those tools you have to use so
Uh-huh.
that everybody in the audience would notice what your
Got it.
intention is. Shall we try that?
Yeah. I'll go.
Beautiful, beautiful. A couple of suggestions for you. Okay, that was a huge difference. Even in 3Es, I hear different colors. So that's exactly in front of a screen. I can even feel that. So I think I'm sure when you play a live concert, it'll be even more beautiful. A little thing about slides, sometimes the half step slides are the most special and beautiful. Well, since we're in the middle of the Menuhin competition, I actually really adore Lord Menuhin's slide, particularly,
Mhm.
especially his downward slide. It's
Mhm.
like slide at the same time having a very beautiful vibrato. It's like listen to Pavarotti singing. It's so
Mhm.
satisfying. And I think one of the places you can maybe have more of this singing operatic quality is that. So to let really feel the intensity of the two intervals, right? I think
Mhm.
that is very important, right?
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, don't have to, you don't have to use my fingerings. I'm just suggesting, even when
I
you're
like
not
it.
doing even when you're not doing any slide, you should still feel the intensity of
Yeah.
the half steps. Okay.
Yeah.
I see the next contestant already entered the room, but I would like to spend a little more time. Would that be okay? Yeah,
Yeah, of
because
course.
I
Thank you
think
so much.
it'll be nice if we can finish the phrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
One suggestion I would like to give is that a 54,
Mhm.
you have this. I know it's marked pianissimo. Again, I would like to bring out, when you look at the orchestra score, all the woodwinds comes in. At least I know the fagot, the bassoon, and the oboe is playing with you. And then this is unfortunately, as a violinist, this is our worst register on D string and not really a good position. So this is very important that you are kind of fighting against an orchestra. I think even when you play pianissimo, you should have a little bit of core. I would say maybe not very fast bow speed. So sometimes we think the bow speed, more bow speed means more sound, and not always. In fact, I think the opposite. Actually, a less bow speed will give you more concentration. And in this case, I think it's very important to know. Also, keep that in mind. To me, a pianissimo is a character. It never means dead. Or yeah, so I really admire what Mr. Brahms once said, that in every pianissimo there is fortissimo. Right? I think that's a very nice line, because you never look at pianissimo as a dynamic or simply a volume scale, right? You look at it as a character. And what is the character here? The intensity is still there, and plus you have to consider the projection problem. So I think keep that in mind. This is very important to know. Okay. And then another thing I would like to mention is, Maya, every bow change, maybe you can consider looking at your bow speed. Sometimes you tend to suddenly speed up right before the bow change. We call that a hiccup. So for example, maybe you change the bow here. Yeah, so it's sometimes I'm exaggerating. A little bit of that, maybe here and there, occasionally. That is very common. I think the best way is to treat that as a singing line, so you wouldn't suddenly speed up your voice right there. So simply put it, so before you change the bow and after you change the bow speed and pressure should stay exactly the same. So then you have a beautiful phrase. No matter you change your bow or not, it still stays very beautiful. So that's my suggestion. And maybe one more suggestion is that you vibrate until the very end, and then also treat every single end of the notes with care. That's why I enjoy listening to Chrysler's recording, because every single tone was so so beautiful. And then at the very end, even though there is barely any sound, the vibrato is still there. You actually hear it's a beautiful finish. That's actually what separates between a very good player and a great artist, because sometimes it makes a huge difference when you listen to a CD and the end of the notes really rings beautifully. That's what touches people the most. I hope it's helpful, Maya. It's such a pleasure listening to you. And
thank you so much.
Beautiful. It was so beautiful. Actually, I feel bad saying so much, because I think I'm trying to help as much as I can. So best of luck. I would like to hopefully listen to you perform again in the near future, hopefully in a real concert hall.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much. It was definitely really, really helpful. So thank you.
So,
sure. So, is there any particular reason why you chose to be with us today? Do you have any kind of physical problems with playing?
Actually, physically, I have faced a little bit of problems. I have started to see a little bit of health problems. Like last year, I had to go through tendonitis a little bit in my left wrist. So I'm pretty sure that was from either over practicing or not stretching the right way. And sometimes I feel like I'm too tense when I play. And also my neck is pretty sensitive, so it gets sore easily. And I'm not exactly sure how to make sure it doesn't happen again, because I'm pretty scared it will happen again.
Okay.
That's good. It's good to be scared at a young age because that means you can fix it before it becomes a problem.
Is your wrist better now?
Yeah, it's totally fine now.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's good to know. Very good. That's good.
So are you picking something that is going to cause tension to play?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, it's Bach G minor, right? But I don't know which movement.
It's the Presto, the last movement.
Presto. Okay, great. You can go ahead.
How long is the movie?
Couple minutes.
So,
We're just going to hear the whole
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Very fast. Shannon, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want to make the repeats? Will that cause more? I don't want to cause problems for you, but
Oh, I don't do it with repeats.
you don't do it with repeats anyway. Okay. Great, great. You want to start?
how did that feel just now, just playing it right now?
I think I tried my best to relax my right hand and my neck by not like leaning forward or anything.
Okay,
I
so
mean, I did try, yeah.
so playing like that is slightly different than the way you normally play?
It is the same as how I usually play.
Oh, okay, but when you play, you try to keep your head not forward. That's what you typically do when you play, not to bring it forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So other than her being very, I mean, I can see the muscle work, and I'd be curious to see what it's like to play without so much action, physical action in your body, and see whether you can get the same or a good sound without all the action that you're giving to playing. And I'd be also interested, because I do this with all musicians, typically string musicians especially, is see how they move their arms in relation in lifting their arms up. Because have you ever been told to keep your shoulders back and down?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Wow.
And is that something?
Not really a lot. It's because I also dance, so I've heard that all my life. So,
There
yeah.
you go.
Okay, so as a dancer, especially, that becomes a problem for a lot of people with their necks, because they never learn to let their shoulder blades go up naturally the way the human body works. And so I would like to have you do that exercise before we're finished today, because I think it's really good to get into your system, allowing those muscles from your neck to your shoulder blade to be used in a good way.
Yeah, back and down is.
Yeah, back and
That's
down.
a no-no in our
Back and
household.
down can cause a lot of neck problems if you do it excessively, or when you don't need to, or too much.
Now, I noticed something else and I want to ask you about it. You, Shannon, you go back a lot when you play. Now, I'm not sure if is that because you're trying to not go forward, or is that just a habit, or is that from dancing? Like, are you aware of that? And did you see that too? Like, there's a lot of this, which I wonder about the back in relation to the neck.
I saw that, and everybody has their own style of the way they do stuff, play music or whatever it happens to be. So I'm not sure I'm going to tell you to change your style, but if you have a problem, if you have too much tension, we want to know if some of that is connected to what how you're using your body. So that unto itself wouldn't necessarily be a problem, but that's when I said, let's see if you can take away some of the action of playing, some of the tension of playing.
That might be just part of it. Yeah.
That might be, yeah. So
I have another question for you, Shannon. Are you aware, besides that, of what possibly excessive physical actions, like Howard's talking about, that you do?
Yeah, I kind of am. I feel like I do move more than I need to, and I feel like I'm so glad that we're touching on this, because one of my goals is to like be able to produce things like more effortlessly instead of having to, like move so much. So, yeah.
So I noticed that, but I also noticed, because I did this my whole life until I got injured and then couldn't play at all anymore, that I noted, I don't know if you noticed this too, but I think you're a head bobber the way I was a head like bobblehead. Your ponytail is like crazy.
I don't know that she was bobbing her
Okay,
head.
so but does that count as a physical action that you noticed? We don't want to make problems. I'm just telling you what I observed.
No, she wasn't somebody that did like this stuff or that. I don't think she did that kind of thing.
Fine.
I had a question though.
Yeah.
I don't know, obviously I don't know this music, the Presto, but I was just curious about the hierarchy of notes, whether she plays all the notes too strong, or does she, according to the way it's written, is there a soft and loud, or is it all pumped?
It's not written. There's no up and down written. That's up to the player.
Okay.
So did you feel like it was pumped? Is that why you're asking?
It was a very strong piece, which is totally fine. A lot of times I work with people who take a piece of music and they play it all strong, even though it's not written all strong.
Right.
That's all I was saying.
Bach gives us freedom to do what we want, but I do think that within strong playing, loud playing, big playing, whatever you want to call it, that you could make more, it would be better for the music and also for your body if you made more, as you said, ups and downs, more nuances, and not play everything equally strong. So the way to do that is, of course, like if you're playing the same chord, you can release like or but not G minor. There's places where you can release the music. So that is something also that will make you more relaxed. Yeah. Because at that speed, you can't really play every note so big. I mean, you come down a lot, but I'm saying within the big playing, you could make little nuances a lot more, and that'd be a way of relaxing. So can we work on both of those things? Fewer physical actions. We don't want to make you a statue or anything, but I guess we're both curious as to, can you make the sound that you want with less effort? And my guess is that it's going to sound bigger with less effort, because you're going to let the instrument ring on its own. Yeah. So could you try, how should we do this? Do you want to just?
This piece is memorized, is that right?
Yeah.
Right, so do you ever play with your eyes closed?
Not often, like barely.
Can you look forward and play any piece of music? Can you not look at your fingers?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
So can you play a scale looking at us in the monitor?
Okay.
So your your focus there was a little bit more forward than normal, right?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so let's just see you not look at your fingers. That's one idea. And play. I was going to say eyes closed or looking forward. You pick whichever one you want to that you think is going to be easier to do, maybe more likely to take away some tension.
Okay.
Which one? Which one?
I think I'm gonna try looking forward first.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was going to suggest that too, because so can you put your body where it was before, but just that you're going to feel weird. It doesn't matter. Try, instead of looking left with your head, just look forward.
Oh,
Right, exactly,
okay.
exactly. How is that?
I think that felt a lot better, like less strained.
Great.
Yeah. So what? I mean, one reason for increased tension is when your head is fixed, always in one spot, and I try to get people to look forward and actually get people to talk while they play is another trick to taking away all kinds of facial tension, which
Well, you don't have facial tension, but
right, or just general tension or facial tension. But did you ever do that? Play and talk?
No, never done that
you
before.
should be giving credit to me. This was my invention, but he always says, I have people play and talk, you know.
I do it a lot.
I walk around the house telling him about my day while I'm moving my hands. My feeling is that if you can talk and play at the same time, because it's one of these things, you're totally relaxed, completely.
Well, just as a tidbit, why don't let's just do a one moment of this.
Yeah.
So if you
Just a scale.
play a scale and just and we'll talk for a second. I'll ask you a question.
Okay, so you'll ask me a question while I.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So just
So
play a
don't
scale.
play too loud, but try the head forward still, like you still want to bend. Yeah, face, like you should look like Shannon. That's what Howard always says. You should look like yourself, and you add a violin to you. See, you've already adjusted your head to it. Yeah, exactly. Great.
So what did you have for breakfast today?
So you can start, just play open strings.
I had a pancake, I think.
Pancake?
Yes.
Did you put anything on it? Any syrup or butter or anything?
Nope, I just ate it dry.
One pancake?
Yes, and I also had soy milk.
One milk. And anything to drink?
Yeah, I did.
What did you drink? Oh, you can't hear me. So, it's very hard with that while you're
But
playing.
that's very good.
Yeah.
Now, what does that feel like to you besides weird?
It feels like half of my mind. It's like I'm subconsciously playing, but also like it's like I'm dreaming. Kind of. That's what it feels like. I don't know. Yeah.
I'll just tell you one thing I noticed, which I'm not sure you do, because this is not your field. Did you notice anything different about your vibrato while you were talking?
I honestly didn't really pay much attention to it.
Well, exactly. So you said it was or subconscious.
Yeah.
Your vibrato was totally relaxed and even. And so I think that's a big takeaway for you, actually, is that you don't have to make the vibrato happen. I think making vibrato happen is another source of tension. And that could be part of your left hand situation. So could you try one more time, and we'll ask you questions again. Okay. And just notice like how loose you are everywhere. So yeah, you can just play whatever. Watched any movies lately? Anything on Netflix or?
Lately I haven't, but I really want to watch The Greatest Showman again.
Okay. What's your favorite kind of movie or show?
I like comedy or fantasy is cool too. Or musicals. I love musicals.
You can stop.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe I could send her later something about playing and talking.
Well, it might be through
Okay.
Menuhin, but anyway. So my question is, did you notice your vibrato this time? How totally loose and relaxed it was?
Yeah.
Because you didn't make it happen. You just allowed your hand to do it. Because on-off vibrato is definitely very tiring for the hand.
Yeah.
And it's also not great for the music. So that's awesome. So you would probably do that every day, right?
Yeah, there's a whole scheme for doing it, but 5 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes would be a good start to do that. And
Just
then,
on scales and
and
stuff.
then eventually you progress towards playing real music that way. It's a training to decrease tension.
Also, the fact that your head is free, you know, that's also the thing about talking. Like your head should be able to move, you know, around and not just left. And I know this from myself. I was fixed left for 40 years until I had to stop playing because I ruined my neck. So I'm just telling you in advance. What if you try, can you try this again? And like, we'll just talk about something, but you also look to the right. Like you can actually move your head, like while you're playing slowly, you know, nothing crazy. Just as if you were going to play something with somebody to your right. So can you just stand there and look like Shannon first? Face, yeah.
What do you think about her setup?
Can you just add the violin to you, but don't change where your head is? Can we just see something about your setup for a sec? So it looks like there's a lot of space between your jawline and your chin rest.
So yeah,
That's another thing to talk about for a second.
Yeah, raising the chin rest might be
having a higher chin rest.
Yeah, having a higher chin rest.
Not shoulder rest, just so that it meets you, because so you're not accommodating to the instrument.
So that could cause more neck tension when you use your neck too much to stabilize.
That's what happened to me. I was using my neck to hold the instrument, and then I couldn't play anymore. And then I went to Howard as a physical therapist, and he said, you need to fill in the space so that you're not adjusting to the instrument, that it's just there.
So that's another thought.
So there's a chin rest.
Well, I don't think we should give products.
Why not? We're not selling them. We don't get kickback.
Well, I think I think the first thing somebody should do, well,
we don't have time to do that now.
No, the first thing somebody should do would be, if you have a luthier that you like, and they could add cork to the chin rest you already have, and they could raise it up, say 1/4 of an inch to start with, and see whether that's too high or too low. And they could, if it's a good luthier, they could modify it and go to more, 3/8 of an inch or something.
But before a luthier, because we're still in COVID times and stuff, you could get just makeup sponges, you know, like, or even a washcloth, folded washcloth with a rubber band.
Yeah.
At home, just to fill in the space so that your head can be free, and not, like I always say, you shouldn't use the chin rest like a pillow. Shouldn't be called a chin rest, really. Yeah. So that your head is free. So I would say start with whatever you have at home, and then practice like that until you can get to a luthier, because
right.
who knows when.
Or it could be a soft cloth that you've got.
Washcloth.
Yeah. Soft cloth, and put a rubber band to it to make it stay.
Yeah. Right.
I was curious about, I want to ask her a question.
Okay.
So you've seen yourself play on video, right?
Yeah, I have.
And so what would you say is a physical action that you think you do that might be unnecessary, or might be something that increases your tension? Is there anything that you feel like you do or see that you've done?
I think when I watch myself, I just feel like my head is too fixated exactly this way, and I feel like it should be able to move, but I don't know, maybe when when you add a little bit nerves, or like when you really want to do well, you just feel like your head needs to be locked this way. So I feel like I get that feeling when I watch myself. And another thing is, I don't do this on purpose. I think it's a habit, but I just like to have my ponytail swish around, but I'm not sure. That probably adds to the tension now that I think about it.
So that's what I noticed.
Well, believe it or not, the hair has a weight to it, And so the weight is, you have to deal with the movement of the hair, and your neck muscles have to handle that. So that is a little bit of an issue, yeah.
So I noticed, I was trying to look for a pattern of the hair swishing while you were playing. And I think it's when you want to emphasize something.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. But so I would like to try something where you play just the first part of the Bach. It's not going to sound great. It doesn't matter. We don't care about how you sound. Where you're going to look forward. You're not going to hang on to the instrument. If it's sort of further away from you, it doesn't matter. It's not going to drop. But that when you want to emphasize something, instead of your head, transfer your ponytail swish to your right hand. Not your arm, but just your hand, so that it's about when you bring something out, it's just going to be with articulation, and it's not going to be with anything extra.
Okay.
And try it very slowly once so that you get used to the feeling of doing less, but just transferring it to the hand. You do ya da 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 da. So and you also vibrate a lot on certain notes. What would happen if you just relax both hands, but when you want to bring something out, now try just with your fingers, just the fingers. Like a few, because Howard always says we need to use the fewest muscles for the task. So the question is which muscles to use. I would say it's these and not anything over here. Try one more time. So like when you go for string crossings like that, just flip the angle of the bow. Don't do anything with, try to not use your head to play a string crossing. That was so good. Did you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Does it feel like you're still bringing out those notes?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, excellent. How about from ya da 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 with just the hand?
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Instead of the whole arm, it's just the wrist that you have to kind of flip further.
Okay, that last piece you just played there for whatever, 5 seconds, that was really, really good. You did something very different, which is as I'm watching you play, knowing that you're a dancer, or I could see where when you first start to play your first note, your body goes, it seems to go into a dance pose, where you seem to go like way up here, like you're going to be dancing on stage.
Exactly.
And that last piece, you didn't do that. You were just sort of, your body just sort of sunk down into the instrument, and you didn't worry about your whole body being performing a dance or something.
But
so
that's what I meant.
That was great.
Originally about this.
So that was great. So keep going.
Awesome.
Keep going.
Awesome. Can you? Yeah, it's just your hand that's doing the string crossings, and it's just the hand that's bringing out notes. That's fantastic. You have a lot more control that way too. So how about you just keep going somewhere around there, and we won't stop you. You do this.
Oh.
Just the hand. Just the hand. Just that you want to do a little bit of this. That's so great. How about from yada? That was fantastic.
Really, really good.
How about from yada da 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 where you just ended? You're starting to go back again. So what I'm saying is, instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm not allowed to do that, say, when I want to do that, transfer that motion to the wrist, because you want to reach for the bottom note, right? That's what you're doing. So go back with your wrist instead of your back.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Wait, that was, what was that?
That was yeah, it's slowly.
Oh,
That was fantastic.
that was incredible.
Fantastic.
So how did it feel?
I think my whole body was much more relaxed, but I'm just a little bit worried because sometimes when I think of like not moving as much, I'm just worried it, like for example, when I'm performing, it just doesn't look as interesting or good.
Oh, we do not have time to discuss that. We live in a visual age, and so people are so concerned with what things look like, and I find it very worrying. I think that there's like, how many times do you go to a concert and you see a lot of motion and excitement and passion, and you close your eyes and you don't hear any of that? Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so there's too much of an emphasis on what things look like and not what they sound like. So I would get this whole idea of performing out of your head, because I think you're going to hurt your body over time if you continue to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that your playing is much better like this. Like if I close my eyes and I hear your first version compared to this version, I'm going to say this one sounds like it resonates more. It doesn't sound overdone. It has actually more ups and downs within it. And it sounds free.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't listen with my eyes. I listen with my ears.
Okay.
And I'm like begging you, that you touched on a really important point. I beg you to just, you know what you should do? Because Howard does this with most of our clients. You should, if you don't believe me, or to believe us, play once, not now, but on your own time, play once your old way, which you're never going to do again, by the way, but you're going to play once for your old way. And then you're going to play once the new way with the head forward, with the just the hand, no body parts. And you're going to have somebody, a parent or a sibling or somebody, play both of those back for you, so you don't know which order. And you're going to turn off the video. You will be able to hear an enormous difference. And pretty much every time we do this with somebody, they say the one that has better alignment, less muscle, always sounds better.
Okay.
So please don't worry what it looks like. Worry what it is. Worry what it actually sounds like and feels like to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was also incredible because you were looking forward and you were less tense, which are extremely difficult things to do in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It might take somebody, I don't know, weeks to try to do that, to be able to look forward and feel comfortable.
Yeah, the fact that you did it so quickly means you could do this already starting today, even if it feels weird. The fact that you can do it that quickly means you got to do it.
Okay.
And so what we always say is you start with 5 minutes a day, just scales. And then every day you can add another minute, so that by the next week you're at like 12 minutes. She does it right away.
She just played the piece.
Well, she played the first half, yeah.
Right, but that's way beyond scales.
That's true, actually. You could
spend 5 minutes a day playing, looking at yourself in a mirror, seeing that you're doing what you're trying to do, and that you can tell in the mirror whether you're going into a dance pose or not. And
also what you're doing with your wrist.
Yeah.
That you're changing. That does it help to think I'm going to do with my wrist what I want to do with my back?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, great. Because too many negative instructions is very difficult to deal with. Just 1 second. So yeah, you can start doing this right away. And I would definitely do the video with the picture off, so that you can hear that it actually sounds better if you don't.
Well, the picture, as long as you're not looking at it, you don't
Right.
have the picture. You don't have to have the picture off. You could just not
Right.
look at it. Yeah.
I think you should try your arm
Yeah.
raise.
Yeah. Let's just
try
see
one
what happens
exercise
with your arms for a second. So we put your instrument down for a moment. And I just want you to first raise one arm with your palm like this, straight up to the ceiling with your right side. Okay, and now, okay, and come on, good, and come on down, and do that with your left side. Okay, and then does one side feel tighter than the other? Doesn't.
Left side feels a lot tighter because besides playing violin, I'm also a lefty, so I have a lot.
Okay. Okay. So now raise both arms together. Okay. And can you, okay, come on down. This time, can you know, your shoulder blades, you know, where they are, right? Okay, great. Just do what you just did and tell me if you can feel any shoulder blade movement.
I'm pretty sure when I go up, my shoulder blades are going like down and in, I think.
Okay, okay, so come on down. So this time you want to allow your blades to go up, to move up with your arms. Just so you're gonna try to see if you can feel them coming up. You're gonna feel it around here. This is where the muscle works, and this is where another muscle stretches. So just do that one more time, and this time allow your shoulder blades to actually go up. So instead of holding them down, back and down, try to let them go up with the arms. Let them go, let them go, let them go. Good, good. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think so.
And then come on down. Okay, does that bother you or feel okay?
It feels okay. It doesn't bother me.
Okay, so I think you're really a good candidate to train yourself to let go of the muscles that have been pulling your blades back and down and allow them. Becomes an exercise of just letting your arms go up with the blade and doing that, which can make people's necks feel a lot less tight. So the fact that when the first time you did this, you said, I think my blades are moving towards each other and down or something like that. That was exactly the opposite of what I was shooting for. So this is really good to do the opposite here, to let them go up. And this becomes an exercise to do on breaks from playing, be able to do like 10 or 15 of those a day. That's a good start.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
And try to do palms forward. I mean, palms facing each other, not, yeah, exactly. So, and
Not
you're
forward.
lifting from underneath and not, right, exactly. Because you looked like you were
Good.
lifting from the top of your shoulder. Don't do that.
Right. So we don't want somebody to use the muscle on top of their shoulder excessively. It's not about, sometimes people use this too much. So we're saying when you let the shoulder blades move up, you want to feel like you're doing it from underneath. So we don't want you to hyper use these muscles up here too much. But anyway, that looked very good. I would encourage that.
That's great. So yeah, the filling in the space, looking forward, just the hand instead of back, and these exercises. You'll be in great shape very soon. And don't worry about what you look like.
Yeah.
Great, Shannon. Thank you so much.
That was excellent.
Thank you guys so much. It was really helpful.
Good.
Great.
Hope to hear you again.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.